Hello, everyone, and welcome to our February Hope Session, Circle of One, Healing Through Expressive Arts Practices. I'm Heidi Parker. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the Community Initiatives Manager here at UCLA Arts and Healing, and I am your Zoom host today. This program is presented as part of our free Hope series, Healing Online for People Everywhere, which we created to support the resilience of our global community through social emotional arts. Each workshop offers a supportive space for connection, healing, and empowerment as we navigate the changes in our world. If you have previously attended a Hope session, welcome back. And if you are new, thank you for joining us today. We are grateful you are all here to create and learn together and grow together as a community. Today's program is in a meeting, so please keep yourself muted until prompted otherwise. We are recording the first part of today's session and we'll be pausing during creating and sharing. It will be shared on our YouTube channel for later viewing, and you are welcome to leave your cameras on as you feel comfortable, as we'd love for you to actively participate. You are also welcome to use the reactions feature to support each other when sharing, and use the raise hand function if you have a question, or you can add questions in the chat as they arise. Before we begin, I would like to start by acknowledging the Tongva Nation, on whose land the city of Los Angeles, where we are based, rests today. We hold respect and gratitude for the Tongva people who still consider themselves the caretakers of this land. And by their example, we are reminded of our responsibility to our planet and to one another. So let's take a moment in our own way to honor the Indigenous communities of past and present on whose land you are joining from today. So I would like to welcome today's presenter, Courtney Abruzzo. She is an arts educator with a special focus on mindfulness, resilience, and stress reduction. She has over 20 years experience and is a professionally certified facilitator in social emotional arts through UCLA Arts and Healing. Additionally, she is an IMTA certified mindfulness teacher, a registered yoga teacher, and is a trained Healing Circles facilitator through Healing Circles Global. She has led workshops through her Courtney Curates workshop series for UCLA's Creative Minds Project, We Rise Los Angeles, and the Hope series. So welcome, Courtney. I will turn it over to you.
Hi, thank you so much. Hi, everybody. My name is Courtney, as was stated. So if you just came in, my name is Courtney, and I am so happy to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that amazing introduction too, Heidi. I really appreciate it. And I'm really happy to see everyone. So if you don't mind, if you haven't already, just take a look at everybody's names and where they're from so that we can feel like we're in this all together, that we're sharing the space together. So you can just scroll through and see. That's always really fun to see where people are coming in from. And so one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today, which is besides the fact that I'm a visual arts teacher and a mindfulness teacher, is Healing Circles Global, which is a community of people that get together and share in a global community about many things. And there's many types of healing circles. There's healing circles for anything you can think of, for grief, for cancer. There's healing circles that are expressive arts, which is the one that I'm involved in and that I'll be sharing with you today. And so you'll notice at some point the link, probably at the end, we'll put some links in there and you can check out their community. It's a really wonderful community, and so I want to share that with you today. I want to share the format for a healing circle, and I want to share with you especially the format for an expressive arts healing circle. And then the goal is that if you go over there and you can't find a way to join a healing circle there, or it's full or the time doesn't work for you, that we can learn today how to do a healing circle of one. So you can do a healing circle on your own at any time. So I'm going to go ahead and let you know what we're going to be doing today. We are going to be, and excuse my pup, I have a dog. I'm sure you all have your own pets coming and going. So this is Circle of One, and what to expect from the Circle of One is that we're going to be learning through healing. So we're going to be learning about healing circles and learning about what that means, healing in a healing circle. We're going to be participating in a healing circle with others. We're going to be considering how to create a circle of one. And then we're going to have an expressive arts experience. I also wanted to go over the materials today because I wanted to let you know that although there are some visual arts materials here listed, and they were probably on the email that you got, it's not so important that you have the visual arts materials. This is an expressive arts workshop, so you can do any kind of expressive arts. That means that you could do dancing, you could do movement, you could do poetry, writing, any kind of expressive arts that you feel calls to you in the moment. And you don't even have to do any expressive arts if you're not feeling it. You can wait until later at a different time and do something that feels meaningful to you, maybe based on what we're doing today. So you might notice that I have a candle, a journal with a writing implement. A totem or personal object is always nice to have to hold on to, maybe even to raise it up. So when you're in a healing circle, you can raise your totem or your personal object during when you want to be called upon. And then I do have at the bottom, you might notice an optional chime or bell. Sometimes we separate different parts of a healing circle with a chime or bell so that folks can move into a moment of stillness. So I want to just talk to you for a moment about what is a healing circle before we start participating in one. So a healing circle it goes back to the lineage of even before Homo sapiens, back to Homo erectus, when people sat around a campfire, and it helped us as humans develop language and has always been a place of sharing throughout time. And then Native and Indigenous peoples have carried it forward. So we participate in a healing circle in Circle Way, which means that folks gather in a circle format, oftentimes in person if possible, and if not, then online. And then there's a beginning, middle, and end with several rituals throughout, such as the lighting of a candle and the ringing of a bell. And those things happen throughout a healing circle. And we explore healing in the healing circle in the mind, body, and spirit, and how that can work best for you as you move through a healing circle. It might be different every day. It might be different moment to moment. So, and we're going to think about how can we accomplish that in a circle of one. And then it's really important to talk about healing versus curing, because you can have healing without curing. You can have curing without healing. It's wonderful to have both happen at the same time, but we're not trying to cure in a healing circle or get rid of physical illness. We're trying to strengthen our minds, bodies, and spirits through and emotions through practices, through healing practices that can help us strengthen. So that's what we're doing in a healing circle. So this is where I invite you to share, perhaps in the chat or if you wanted to raise your hand, because the healing circle is a routine, but it's more than a routine. It's a ritual that we perform or that we engage in. And so what is the difference to you between a routine and a ritual? So think about, as you might be journaling or thinking about in the chat, you might get up every morning and brush your teeth, and then you might have breakfast and some coffee and then drive to work. And you might do that in the same order every single day. But what makes something a ritual for you? That's one thing to reflect on. And then also, do you have a daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly ritual that you engage in any way? And there's many forms of rituals, so that it really could be anything. So if you'd like to share that in the chat or share that, you're welcome to share that out loud. Just to let you know, this portion is recorded. We will turn it off during the expressive arts practices and sharing that if anyone wants to share, but you're welcome to share, or you can even just put in the chat if you have any. Okay, so I'm going to read through some of these. A routine is something that I have to do. A ritual is something I want to do. So I love that. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for saying that, Jasmine. Brandy says, meditating on the intention of what I am doing. Making tea is my morning ritual. Yeah, I agree. I smell my tea. It really makes me feel good. Seville Michelle says, chanting my diamond every day for 15 minutes. Elaine says, ritual for me is about intent. Really great. That's a really wonderful thing to say. Sandra says prayer and meditation. So ritual sets an intention. So some of these things that let's see, a combination of mental and physical actions. And so for me, it's about the mindfulness and the meaning of a ritual, but you're also welcome to have any view that you want on what a ritual is for you. So the difference is that maybe if it's meaningful to you, if smelling the tea, if listening to a certain song, if doing something in a certain order gives more meaning to the event that you're involved in, then it can be a ritual for you. So it's really wonderful to be able to create rituals around what you do as a way to give your life and to give your healing or whatever you're going to be involved in more meaning for you. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what we're going to do. Well, actually, let's talk about the science. I love that. I love knowing why things work. And this is some of the things that I think Heidi mentioned in the beginning is the goals of these kind of workshops. So it's really to reduce stress in the body, which can be so harming to us. So we want to find ways to reduce and decrease stress hormones. And all of these things that we're going to be participating in today help that. And so it's important to engage in these kind of activities as you seek any kind of healing. All right, let's talk about the format of a healing circle. We're going to jump into it in just a minute. So there's generally a welcome, which we really haven't quite done the welcome yet the way we would if we're doing a healing circle. And think about how you can do all of these things when you're in a circle of one. We check in. There was a little check-in as we came in, but I'm going to ask you perhaps for a little other type of check-in. A silent council, we'll talk about what that is. Agreements, so we read agreements in a healing circle that we aim to keep throughout that container of the circle. There's a heart share, and generally during the heart share, there's an inspirational poem or quote or an artwork is presented, and then it's followed by a prompt given to folks, and then you're invited to respond to that with expressive arts. And I did say that you could bring your own quote or poem. And the reason that I'm going to say that is that I'm going to go ahead and give you an inspirational poem and a prompt to work on today, but you're welcome to work on one of your own or to think about how what you brought could then be used another time to create your own inspiration. Then there's a harvest and a closing. So you'll notice that there's components to the healing circle. So everyone on the rim is really important. So you can participate through active listening when you're in a healing circle. So today, if you're participating through active listening, you can show others that you're listening. You can put your hand over your heart to let the people know that you're really listening actively, maybe not scrolling through phones and stuff. That's one way to let people know. And another way is to share from your heart so that when you do share, that you're sharing authentically. And besides that, we have a host, which today is myself, and we have a guardian. And in a sense, Heidi is our guardian today. She's keeping the time for us. She's looking after all the members as they might come in and out. And she's keeping the Zoom agreements that we might have about muting mics and such. But in a healing circle, there would be a guardian too that's a timekeeper and that keeps agreements. So we're getting ready to jump into the healing circle, and we're going to talk about how circles started around the cook fires of humanity, how everyone gathered for collective wisdom. And so here we are, and we start our healing circle always by lighting a candle. This is quite a pretty candle that I have here. You don't have to have a candle with you today, and you actually never have to have a candle that actually lights with a flame. You could just have an electric candle. But I'm going to light this candle today to signify that the healing circle has begun, and this candle becomes our campfire. So I've lit the candle here that you can see, and this candle will be burning throughout our healing circle. If you'd like to also light a candle, you're welcome to. I see lots of people holding up candles. It's great. So our circle has now begun, and we're going to welcome ourselves into the circle by having a comfortable seat, maybe placing your feet on the ground so that you feel grounded, coming into a state of relaxation, whatever that means to you, maybe relaxing your face and shoulders. If you feel comfortable and move to do so, you can gently close your eyes. And you can reach your hands out if you want to, and imagine that your fingertips are touching those around you. We're all here together. So even though we might not know one another, we're here in this space together. And imagine welcoming everyone here. If you could, you would welcome them all by name. And you would feel loving kindness toward everyone here and hope for a sense of healing for folks. And the thing about perhaps being in a circle of one is that you can cast a wider net. So you can have a meditation like this, and you can cast a net to the folks in your neighborhood, to those who live next door to you, on your street, in your town. You can think of your friends and family. So even as you're in a circle of one, we're never really on our own. Even in a circle of one, we can create our own universe and be complete. And we can think about casting a net to the wider world. But as you're here, perhaps touching the fingertips of the person next to you, just welcome yourself to this moment so that you can be present. And then you can gently open your eyes if you had closed eyes. And then hopefully you feel a little bit more settled into this moment. And often we take a moment of stillness too. So this is where I might ring a chime or a bell. So I have a couple of different things I like to use. I have this lovely chime that I'll be using today. I have an egg shaker. That's good too. When I teach kids, I love that one. And I have a little bell that I can ring too in a healing circle. But if you don't have any instruments when you're doing a circle of one, you can drum, but you can create some kind of instrumentation to separate the different sections of the circle. So I'm going to ring a bell as we just take a moment of silence for any intentions that you want to set. So now it's the portion of a healing circle where we read the agreements. I'm going to let you know what the agreements are in Healing Circles Global, where I've been trained. Oh, and we'll do a check-in. We'll do another quick check-in, but let's take a look at the intention of a healing circle. So it's to create a safe space for healing ourselves, each other, and the world. And the agreements are always read. The agreements are always stated and read out loud, sometimes by a guardian if you're in a healing circle with others, sometimes by the host. We treat each other with kindness and respect. We listen with compassion and curiosity. We honor each other's unique ways to healing and don't presume to advise, fix, or save one another. We hold all stories shared in the circle confidential. We trust that each of us has the guidance we need within us, and we rely on the power of silence to access it. So silence or stillness to access it. So those are the agreements that you might encounter in a healing circle. And I'm going to invite you to think about how you can have an agreement like this for yourself in a circle of one. So I invite you for a moment to consider one bullet point perhaps, and write or journal, or you can write it in the chat, how you might amend that when you're on your own. So how might you amend these agreements in a healing circle when you are on your own in a circle of one? We'll just take a couple of minutes to consider how you could do that. And I'm going to take a look in the chat. Yes, definitely you can have access to the slides. Substitute the I for we. So that's one of the things that you could immediately do, right? You could just substitute it. I treat myself with kindness and respect. I don't try to fix myself in this moment. You know, I don't try to give myself advice in this moment. I'm working from some kind of inner wisdom. I listen to my thoughts. I will listen to my thoughts with compassion and curiosity. So these are all really wonderful, not to self-censor. That's wonderful. Thank you. Dr. Pamela Robertson, thank you. Treat self without harsh judgment. Be present in the moment, not thinking about worries outside of the now. To be trauma sensitive and accommodating to others' needs. I love all of these, and I'm sure that you can think of others as you move forward, how you can have a circle of one. So after the agreements, we generally ring the bell. So as you're thinking about developing your own circle of one and what rituals you might use, you can think about having some kind of a bell or chime for yourself too, to make it meaningful for you. We're going to begin now with the heart sharing. And this wonderful quote of the work of seeing is done, now practice heart work. Okay, so we'll talk about what is heart sharing. Heart sharing is a lot like being a participant on the rim. It's authentically sharing from the heart. There will be a prompt, there will be an inspirational poem that I'll read, and a few questions that you can use. And once again, so the rules, there are no rules, right? There's no rules during this. So you really can express yourself any way that you want. We'll have about 25 minutes for this heart share, during which time you can go off and do what you want to do. You can think about deeply what you want to say after you hear the prompt and we read the poem that is today's inspiration. You can do painting, drawing, you can journal, you can write a poem, you can do some movement that if you want to share with others later, that you can express what that was like for you. There's so many different ways that you can participate through expressive arts or through anything really. There's no right or wrong. You can just be here in this moment and think and maybe write down some thoughts that you might do later. So I'm going to go ahead and share our inspirational poem and then a few prompts to get you started. And then what we'll do is we'll stop the screen. We'll have just a screen up and we'll let everyone have 25 minutes. I'm not going to show you necessarily what I'm going to do until after. And also I'll share and then we'll stop the recording so that you can feel comfortable if you'd like to share too after the time. So I'm going to go over all of this again so that you can understand what's going to happen. Okay, so this is our heart share. So during the heart share, you'll have this poem, which you can take inspiration from the poem as well. You can take inspiration anywhere today. It could be from something on your own that you brought. It could be from something that was said earlier in the chat or something that I said. It doesn't have to be a heart share from this. However, this is what I prepared today, so you're welcome, and I invite you to use this if you'd like to. So I'm going to go ahead and read this. Everything the power of the world does is done in a circle. The sky is round, and I have heard that the earth is round like a ball, and so are the stars. The wind in its greatest power whirls. Birds make their nests in circles, for theirs is the same religion as ours. The sun comes forth and goes down in a circle. The moon does the same, and both are round. Even the seasons form a great circle in their changing and always come back again to where they were. The life of a man or person is in a circle from childhood to childhood, and so it is in everything where power moves. Our teepees were round like the nests of birds, and these were always set in a circle, the nation's hoop, a nest of many nests, where the Great Spirit meant for us to hatch our children. And this is from Black Elk, Battle of Wounded Knee survivor and holy man of the Oglala Sioux. So I'm going to leave this up just for a brief moment in case, rather than the questions I'm going to ask you in the prompt, maybe there's something here that you might like to write down. Maybe there's a phrase or a word or an entire sentence that you take inspiration from. And I can always put it up again in a minute if anybody requests. So these are our heart sharing prompts, and I invite you to consider these prompts or anything that you feel is meaningful to you today. And then we're going to have 25 minutes for you to engage in some kind of expressive arts of your choice. Visual arts, poetry, writing, movement, dance, theater, song, some kind of music, anything you can imagine can work. And so these are the prompts for today: is what is in your circle and what is not in your circle? Are there areas in your life where circles converge? Are the circles joyous? Are there circles that you need to break? So I will leave these prompts up. We will have 25 minutes to express ourselves. So let me just stop the share just briefly to explain. So we'll have 25 minutes. I'm going to take any questions about this part because I don't want anyone to feel like they don't understand. But we're going to take 25 minutes to consider the prompts, which I will place back up on the screen, and to do expressive arts on your own. You can mute, you can go somewhere else in your home or your space. Any way that you want to participate today is wonderful. And then about 2 minutes before the 25 minutes is up, we'll start that in just a minute, there'll be a bell to remind you to come back. Thank you so much, Heidi, for sharing the poem in the chat. Thank you. Wonderful. I see some people are saying that they quoted this in their master thesis. Pamela, thank you so much for that. Okay, so we're going to take 25 minutes. Let me get that prompt up and then we'll start the timer. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I don't see that anyone has any questions. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and then I'm going to allow you, and I'm going to disappear here too. I'm going to have my camera off, and we're going to take 25 minutes. So Heidi, is that good? 25 minutes?
That is great.
Okay. And
I'm
so
going to pause the recording as well.
Okay, so Heidi's going to pause the recording for 25 minutes, and about 2 minutes beforehand, we're going to come back. And then if you feel so moved, then you can go ahead and share your heart share, and it won't be recorded. So today what I did is I used some paint to really squeeze down some different blobs. So I used some craft paint. I used some squeeze paint. And I just squished that down onto my paper, and then using some wax paper, I didn't even have to use a paintbrush, and a little brayer, I just rolled those paint smushes onto my paper, and I kind of layered them on and let them dry a bit. I did run and do it with a hair dryer to get some of the layers dry and put more layers on top. And then I came back in with some paint pens and I drew a little bit on top of it. And my goal here was then to take my circle tracers, my circle templates, of which I have multiple sizes. If you have any questions about materials, feel free to ask me. You can always email me too. And then what I like to do is see what's in my circle. So I kind of look around. I can take different sizes. So it's kind of my way of thinking about what I can leave out of the circle. I know I have a lot of old thinking and things that I'd like to change. And so what needs to stay in and what needs to stay out. And I love looking at this because there are some areas that I find to be not as pleasing as others, and maybe those represent sort of what I need to let go of. And I have an example of how I did that earlier with another similar painting where I actually cut the circle out from a similar painting. And then I have this art circle that I can think about, I can contemplate, I can meditate on, and I can think about what's in my circle, what's not in my circle any longer. So that was the end of 2 minutes for me. Oh, thank you. Thank you for saying that you love the music. I think that some of it was quite soothing, so that's good. And then I just wanted to quickly just show you that, you know, I have this artwork now or I have a circle template here, and I had an artwork with the circle obviously cut out of it. I'm looking for it here, and I don't necessarily see the one. Oh, here it is. So I have this circle now with a missing circle from it. So it's sort of like what is staying in my circle and what is staying out. So that was what I worked on today for the prompts. And if you'd like to share, you can let us know. So once again, this is the time of a healing circle where we reflect on what came up for us during the heart share. And I'll do a bell after about 1.5 to 2 minutes. Okay, so that's the end of the harvest round. Would anyone like to share? You're welcome to raise your hand and share maybe for 1 minute about something that you harvested from the heart share. So we're going to move into the last part of our circle, which is just once again the idea of a campfire. If you'd like to read the book that Healing Circles Global bases their format on and was inspired by, it's called Circle Way by Christina Baldwin and Anne Linnea. There are so many different kinds of circles and circle ways and circle formats, and this one is really wonderful. By its simple shape, circle includes everyone without distinction, welcomes and invites all to participate, and creates equality among all of those gathered. And then I just invite you to reflect on what are you taking away from today's circle? What are you taking away from today's circle? You can place that in the chat if you have thoughts about what you might take away from today's circle. And you can see there's a survey here. And I'll stay around for a question and answer too if anyone's interested. But we're going to go ahead and blow out the candle. And you can see that Heidi put up some wonderful upcoming events. So we're going to end this circle today. Thank you so much for joining us. The healing circle always ends with the blowing out of the candle, but we take the fireplace with us wherever we go. And remember that each of us, even when we're disconnected from others, we can create our own universe within ourselves, and we can always remain in this circle in our minds of the precious gift of being here together. Thank you so much. Yes, so many wonderful things to read in the chat. I'm going to blow out the candle now, and I'm sure Heidi has a few things to share.
Thank you, Courtney. I just want to share just immense gratitude for leading us through this session today and giving us such a supportive circle space. And thank you, all of you, for not only spending your day with us, but for also just sharing your creative process. I do want to share the we have. So there's a few listed here. Our next Hope series is March 17th, and then we have a couple other trainings. Please be on the lookout for that follow-up email. I will include the slides for that and Courtney's contact as well. And then, as mentioned, there is the survey in the chat box. That survey will also be in your email. So we really, really appreciate that feedback. It helps us plan for future sessions and just make sure that we are best serving our community. And we really do hope that you have a wonderful weekend, and I look forward to seeing you at a future Hope workshop.
Thank you. Did we want to stick around for a Q&A at the end of this? We do have a little bit more time.
Absolutely. We can stay on for Q&A, Courtney.
Okay, great. Will you be stopping the recording for that part? Okay. Did anyone have any questions? What's the name of the book again? The book is called Circle Way. Let me pull up that screen. I can also pull up the Healing Circles Global, or maybe Heidi can share that in the chat. The website to look into Healing Circles Global. The name of the book is called The Circle Way, and the authors are Christina Baldwin and Anne Linnea.